What's going on, everybody? This is Future Automation, a place where imagination meets reality, and you're listening to Tejas. Before getting started with any kind of information, let's grab a cup of coffee and let's get started. This is really going to be an interesting video series because in the previous video, we have learned about Telegram automation and all that stuff, and how we can use Telegram bot with Python. But I thought that we can extend the plan and create a Telegram ecosystem rather than just PC automation or anything like that. So today I'm going to start with some basic, functionalities like responses and buttons, and use them to perform some functions or one function for which we have already created a code. And this will be kind of an introductory video, and as we are going to move forward, I'll explain you what plan I'm going to implement in this, all the functionalities and what all things will be included in the ecosystem, including the PC automation, social media automation, emails, and whatnot. The list is endless. Let's get to it. So first I'll show you what I have done in this video, and then I'll explain you the code. So let's run it, and the code is running. Which will go to Instagram, and as usual we'll start with the start. So start, and it will give you that we need to enter the start insta function to get the Instagram. Spelling of the functions is wrong, so we'll start with the start insta. And here you can see that we have two buttons options that are in it. So if we'll go to the get info, we need to give a response with the profile ID. So let's go with the my Instagram profile ID, which is for future automation. So make sure if you are not following it, follow it. So what it will do is it will take the ID, and then it'll give us a response about the number of followers for that particular, Instagram ID. Next to that, we'll try again with the second option. So start Insta again, get post, and here again, if I'll add anything, so automate, and it will just give us that you are in the post function. That's just for testing. I have not added any functionality here. So basically what we are doing here is there is an Instagram scraping video that I have created. There is a code already available on GitHub. So I'm using the same code just to add a bit of fun in the code, and to feel like I have added a functionality in this, although the main motto of this particular coding or this video is to show you how we can implement these buttons and options in this particular. So previously we have seen that how we can add command handlers and messages in the Python to use them in this Telegram bot. So guys, let's go to the code now. Anything in the code we'll start with the packages that we have installed. We'll start with the easiest one. These two are my code. One is the token, as I explained in the previous video. For those who are new, you can go back and check out that video. It is kind of very basic video, and you'll get a gist of it. So that is the token. Instascraper is the code that I have created previously during the Instagram video. By the way, thanks for awesome views on that video. And if you have not watched it, and if you want to do some social media marketing or use some analysis, you can use that code in it. So basically what we are doing here is we are just getting that Instagram loader library. We are creating a bot, and we are getting the information from the username that we are passing. So that's basically it. Next to that, we start with the main libraries. Logging. So logging is basically used here. You can see at the bottom, login is used to log all the information that we have. For this particular code, we are only adding that we have started the scheduler and all that information, and for that we are using logging. Next to that we are having filters. So that this is from the telegram.ext library. Filters are basically, they work as you can guess from the name. They filter the incoming information in text, audio and video. So if there is any function which is only concerned with text, you'll filter it with the text. If it is only concerned with audio, you will only mix it with audio. If it's only concerned with video, it will filter with video. So that's it. Message handlers are basically used to control the all the messagings that are coming and going from Telegram bot. So that is what we are using for. Update is basically used for the updates that, or the response that are coming from the Telegram. So it's quite, I think, easier for us to understand. Next to that we have updater, command handler, callback query handler, callback context and conversation handler. All these five imports are used to handle the different functionalities in Telegram, which are based on the response and the text or the messages that we need to push from and to the bot, and also the data that we are receiving from the bot and using it in different functions. So callback context and query handlers are used for the data that is coming from Telegram, which we cannot directly use, not like we do in different functions. So for that we are using this different imports. Next to that we are having the inline keyboard button, keyboard markup and force reply. Inline keyboard button is used to create the buttons that I just now have shown you. So basically these buttons are created using inline keyboard buttons. Next to that, inline keyboard markup is used to combine all the buttons that we have created and pass it to the Telegram. So that's the simplest explanation I can give for this. Force replies are basically what makes you to reply to that particular request. So say for example, if we are again selecting here get info, so what it will do is it will compulsory ask us to give a profile ID. So this is done using that force reply. So if I'll write here the cube world 25, it will give us the response with the number of followers that I am having on the other channel. So basically that's it for the packages that we have imported. Next to that, what we are doing is we are adding three different variables which we are going to use in the future, and we are going to make sure that the range is assigned correctly with the number of values, sorry, the number of variables we are having in. So three variables, range is three. This is the starting initiation of the function or the code. Next to that, we'll go to the main function first. Now, what main function is having is, if we are having the if name equals to main, you need to implement this. So this is basically the Python part that you can go and check in on the internet. Now, here we are creating an updater variable which will have the token, and then the use context equals to true. In this, the important part is the token that we are getting from the token key file, which is having the bot token that the bot father gives us. So in the previous video again I have explained it. Next to that, we are creating a dispatcher. So basically dispatcher, what it does is, dispatcher is responsible to add the handlers that we are creating. So what are handlers, that also I have already explained in previous video. Still in this video there is a bit of difference in how we have created the handlers, so I'll explain you that part. But basically dispatchers is a class which is responsible to do something when there is an update. So we are adding the handlers, and when there is an update from the Telegram, we'll perform some functions. Now, next to that, we have the logging. So basically, we are logging the basic configurations with the ASCII time, name, and label and messages. So this is related totally to the data that is coming from the Telegram once we are connecting to it. So this part I'll explain you in a minute. Before that, I'll explain you these two. So start polling will start the server or start the code, and it will tell the Telegram that we are now on, and you can use the bot to communicate with the code. And next to that, updater idle, what it will do is it will keep the code on until you are not closing it forcefully with control C, or somehow the program gets terminated due to any kind of error or something. Okay, so let's get to the handlers part. So we are going to declare a dictionary here of handlers with the name of handlers, and we are going to start adding the handlers. So make sure you declare a start function and create a start handler to make sure that whenever the user is using your bot for the first time, they will use the start command, because that is kind of a requirement for you to make your bot interactions easier. So whenever they'll with the start function, you can add all the commands that are available, your bot can perform, that you can mention the start function. Next to that, we have name conversation handler. So this basically handler is having the major work to do. So we are having a conversation handler here. Conversation handler is responsible for creating a proper functionality that can be used to create a good conversation with the user who is using your bot. So based on his responses and your functionality, that logic that you have added, there will be a good communication between you, that is the bot, and the user. Now, in this conversation handler, we need three things: entry points, states, and fallbacks. So entry points are nothing but the first function that you will be executing, and based on this function response, the states will be executed. So say for example, in the set name handler, the function that I have already declared above, I'll explain you in a minute. From here, we are returning the expect button click as a return value, and this expect button click in the states. This conversation handler will check where is the expect button click, and then it will execute the particular function that is assigned to this particular variable. So that is button click handler. So button click handler will again perform few functions, and it will return based on the user input expect name or expect post, and based on that the particular functions will be executed. As simple as that. Now, next to that, there is a fallback function, fallback part of this particular conversation handler, and that is just nothing but canceling. So if you are using the cancel command, and that will basically greet you with bye and close the conversation. Now, all the handlers that we have added, what we'll do is we have created a dictionary. We need to add it to the dispatcher. So how we are going to add it? We are going to have a name as a variable and a handler, that is the value, as a value in the handlers item, and then each handler will be added in this dispatcher. Once we are added in the dispatcher, we will start the pooling and we'll put it to the idle state. Now, this was the main function. Let's get to the for methods that we have implemented. So the entry point is set name handler. This is the entry point of the conversation. This gives buttons to the user. Now, how it is doing is we are creating a list of lists called button, and in that we are using this inline keyboard button that I explained previously while explaining the libraries. So inline keyboard button will have the title and then a callback data. So using this callback data, you can decide what operations you need to perform. So if we are having the callback data as find profile info, will execute a different piece of code. If we are having get post as a callback data, we'll execute different piece of code. And then we are using the inline keyboard markup, which will tell the bot to display these buttons in that format which I have shown you. We are creating a markup variable, we are putting all the details in this, and then update.message.reply text again is used to respond to any kind of request that user has created in this particular function. So for that, we are giving a title and then the buttons, and then we are responding to the expect button click. So basically what expect button click is going to call, it is going to call this button click handler. So what button click handler has is having is, we are having a query update callback query. So what update callback query does is, it will tell us what information we have received from this button. So that is callback data. So based on this query dot data, we'll perform few operations. So first is, if we are having find profile info, we'll ask them to give the input, that is the user ID of that particular Instagram, and then we'll return as expect name. So expect name, this function will be called. In this function, as you can see here, that we are getting the name that is provided by the user, use the ID for the Instagram ID, and then from there we are calling this get basic info function, which we have created in the another file, from where we are getting the number of followers of that particular ID. So we are passing everything and returning the value. Once we get the value here, that is the count, we'll add that count to one of the dictionary, and then we can call this dictionary here as a response. So if we'll check the previous values, you can see the total number of followers for the cube world 25 is 107. So that is what it is showing. And then we'll end the conversation handler. Again, once we'll call the function, next time what we are doing is we are clicking on the second button. So second button will be get post. Now what get post will do is it will return expect post. So what expect post is doing is it is calling the get user post. What get user post we have implemented is that we are just responding in that you are in the post function. So this I have done to confirm that whether I was in the right function or not. Yeah, so that's it. For the cancel, again we are having the set name. And for the start one, as I explained that you need to create a start one, I have added here that enter start insta to get the Instagram functions. So basically that's it, guys. This is kind of a confusing code, because initially I had to put a lot of head to implement this code, although there is a kind of same code already available in the internet, but I have done a lot of tweaks and added a lot of my own functionalities in this. So to create two buttons we need to implement so much amount of code. Now you can imagine we are planning to create an ecosystem using Telegram bot, but it will be a lot of fun. We'll get lot of things to learn here, and we'll work with lot of APIs and IoT stuff, and also a lot of automations. So with time we'll see how the series goes. And again, if you have not watched the previous video, make sure you watch it, because without that your head will start breaking directly if you are looking at this. But again, if you have already worked on this kind of codes, it's fine. Still, I recommend you going and watching that video for just idea, and also my views will get a bit more. And also those who are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to my channel, like the video, hit the bell icon, share the videos for those who want to create such kind of ecosystems and automations and feel like Iron Man. And make sure you add your comments. The code is already in GitHub, so go to the repo, clone the repo, and add your own code if you have anything. And do contribute to the code as well, and share your code with me as well to show what I have done, and add your comments again. Next to that, we'll be coming up with more videos, and I'll try to make sure that the ecosystem will get a bit more interesting. So till then, see you guys. Keep innovating. Take care.